Hi, today I want to talk to you about something. What do you do if you want to put a microwave in a camper van? Something that you need a microwave for. I want to talk to you about requirements. I want to talk to you about power usage and the differences between buying a small microwave and say a 1,000-watt microwave. And this is something you need to really consider. Well, here we have the two microwaves that we own. This is the new 700-watt microwave that we just purchased not that long ago. We got it on clearance and we paid like $30 for it. This is our old 1,000-watt microwave. Yes, it still does work. There's a couple reasons that we bought the small microwave and that we're using it at the moment. One, it was $30 on clearance. Two, the alternator in my van is a 95 amp alternator. That will kick out about 1,000 watts of power. So it will run the 700-watt microwave off of my vehicle. That's not counting my battery pack for my solar. The other microwave, the 1,000-watt microwave, if I actually tried to run that, it would really mess something up, either my alternator, my starter battery, and it could be a whole slew of other things. Plus the fact that the 700-watt microwave, you can use a smaller DC-AC inverter, a cheaper one, than running the large microwave. I'm going to talk about the differences here. On the 700-watt microwave, it says it uses 1,050 watts of power. That's for a 700-watt microwave. Think about that. 1,050 watts. Now on a 1,000-watt microwave, it uses, oh, where did I see that? 1,450 watts. Okay, so the 1,000-watt microwave uses 400 watts more than the 700-watt microwave. Now, of course, my small DC-AC inverter will barely run my large 1,000-watt microwave because it's pulling 1,400 watts, period. And this is running 1,050. So my DC-AC inverter, the small one I own, which is 1,100 watt to 2,200 watt, will run that without an issue. The large one, it will run, but barely. It has a serious issue with that. Now I do have a larger DC-AC inverter that will run with no issues on this microwave, the large one, and it'll run the small one like a dream, but it's not even there, Another thing you have to worry about if you are thinking about putting a microwave in a vehicle or a camper or even a motorhome, if it doesn't already have one, your battery capacity. Yes, that is important, but something people don't really think about. Now, this 1,000-watt microwave uses 400 watts more power than the 700-watt microwave. But the 700-watt microwave can take 3 times longer to cook something. That's a serious issue if you're running off of battery power. Now, if you have 400 watts of solar or 300 watts, say 300 watts, figure 1,200 watts right here, and we'll go up to 1,100 watts right here, you're looking at some serious power draw on any microwave. What makes more sense? If you have some solar, if you can get 400, 500, 600 watts of solar and 3 decent, even if they're $100 Walmart batteries, lead acid, what makes more sense when buying a microwave? To me, it actually makes more sense if you have the money. Now, if you want to go on the cheap, a 700-watt microwave, 1,000+ watt power inverter, 1,100, no less than 1,100 watt power inverter, and a couple dual cycle batteries, you can run this microwave. You can run this off of your vehicle if you have a 95 amp alternator. Yes, Most cars, small trucks, small minivans do not have that strong of an alternator. So you have to know what you're running, and you have to know the power of your alternator. But if you're wanting solar and you can afford $500 for the solar panels, the charger controller, say $200 to $300 for batteries, even if they're Walmart batteries, and then if you can afford $100 to $200 for the DC power inverter to change DC to AC, I'm going to tell you why this larger one to me makes more sense than the small one. Now, if you're running off a vehicle, the small one makes way more sense. One, everything's cheaper. Two, you don't have to worry about having solar if your alternator is strong enough. The larger one makes more sense to me. It may draw 400 more watts to run, but it cooks so much faster. I mean, way faster than this little small 700 watt microwave. I make chimichangas for my girlfriend. She likes them. She has them almost every single night, unfortunately. In this small microwave, 4 minutes on one side and like 4 minutes on the other side to get them done the way she likes them. So that's 8 minutes. Literally 8 minutes in this 700 watt microwave. Could I cut that down a little bit? Possibly. I could possibly do it in 7, but I want to make sure the inside's cooked for her, and you know, she doesn't want to bite into something and be ice cold. So even at 7 minutes running this, that's 7 minutes. The same chimichangas that I make in this 1000 watt microwave, for what she eats, I can run 2 minutes, possibly 3 on one side, and 1.5 minutes on the other side. So even if we're going 3 minutes and then 1.5 minutes, that's 4.5 minutes compared to 8 minutes. Okay, that's almost half of the time that it would take this small one to make it. So when you're getting a microwave, you have to consider, one, what you're making in it, how long you're cooking in it, you know, how long it's going to take. For some of our dinners and lunches, I make broccoli cheddar rice with canned chicken. That is in one of my budget meal videos, where we take 2 packs of broccoli cheddar rice and we add a can of chicken to it and cook it in the microwave. Now it takes over 20 minutes, literally over 20 minutes, and then I have to stir it and put it back in for probably another 8 to 10 minutes. So you're looking at 30 minutes to cook in this 700 watt microwave. Well, at the same time, this here takes about 16 to 18 to get it fully cooked. That's a lot more time you're using the small microwave. Now I understand the big one uses 400 watts more, but the small one takes so much longer to cook. So what do? If you don't have solar and you want a way to cook, like in a vehicle, one, make sure you have at least a 90 amp alternator. That's a must. You don't want to try to run a microwave off of a smaller alternator, because it can screw up the electrical system, it can screw up the alternator, it can fry your battery. Two, you have to have it wired directly to the battery. Do not get a DC-AC inverter that plugs into a cigarette lighter and try to run a microwave from it. It's not going to work. 3, anytime you're trying to carry heavy loads, put a fuse on it and replace the wire with a larger size cable. Anytime you have heavy loads. That's a must. But this little microwave I'm going to end up putting in the van. Now the only reason we do not use the large microwave, and it works perfectly fine, it has starting to get little etches up underneath the glass, the turntable. So whenever the turntable goes, it goes to the when it hits that chipped out piece and the paint and it's chipped down into the metal. What I'm going to do with this microwave is I'm going to sand it down, and I'm going to, get it flat and smooth, and then I'll repaint the large microwave on the inside with appliance paint. Once I'm done with that, the little microwave will go in the van, and we'll just go back to using our large microwave. Because you have to think about how much more power are you actually using a smaller microwave. It may say you're using less wattage, but you're using it for so much longer of a time. That power is going to add up. So for something that takes me 30 seconds to a minute in here, takes 2 minutes in here, if not longer. In the large microwave, I can cook sausage in the large microwave in a big glass bowl, and it takes 12 minutes, 12 to 16 minutes, and it takes still nearly 20 to 30 minutes, if not longer, way longer than 20. So I'd say closer to 30, if not a little bit higher than 30 minutes in this microwave. Because it's a big glass bowl full of water and has sausage in it. So you're looking at, when I cooked with the old microwave, the 1,000-watt microwave, I could generally get everything done literally within 20, 30 minutes tops if I'm cooking everything in this microwave, the 1,000-watter. This can take me, if I'm cooking everything in the microwave, can take 50, 60 minutes. A couple days ago, my girlfriend wanted everything literally made in the microwave. She wanted sausage, she wanted some rice, and I forget, she wanted gravy or something like that. I don't remember everything she wanted. That's what it was, sausage, mashed potatoes, and gravy. Now everything I made in the microwave. That took me over an hour, literally over an hour in this. Almost an hour and a half. Because the gravy alone in this microwave used to take me 5 to 7 minutes. And here, it is taking 9 to 11 minutes. Easily. So, if you're going to get a microwave for a vehicle, you have to think about something else. You don't have to just think about the power draw. You have to think about how long you're using that. If you're used to using a 1,000+ watt microwave, and you already know that 1,000-watt microwave is going to take you 20 minutes to use, you can literally pretty much double that time on a 700-watt microwave. So in the long run, this 700-watt microwave is actually going to use more power than the 1,000-watt microwave. Let's talk about Salisbury steak. A lot of people buy Salisbury steak from Walmart. We do too. In the large microwave, remember this is only 1,000 watt. I would cook it for 8 minutes. Then I would open the package up, flip them around, make sure the gravy's moved around, and put it back in for about another 8 minutes. Alright, that's 16 minutes. And they'd be perfectly cooked. They'd be hot all the way through. In fact, sometimes it'd actually burn a little bit of them. Make them a little bit hard on the edges because I would overcook them. This, I have to start off literally with 10 to 12 minutes, check it. And even then, I have to break some of those Salisbury steaks apart because they're still frozen in the center. Then I have to put it in for another 5 minutes, the same side. then I have to take them out, flip them over, and put them in for another 8 to 10 minutes. So, in the long run, this is using more power because it has less wattage, less cooking. Now, if you can't afford a large microwave, a large inverter, a battery pack, solar, that's what you need to do, is go with something a little bit larger if you can. Because it may draw a lot of power out of your batteries at one time, but it won't keep drawing that much power out of your batteries for a long extended period of time. Like these smaller microwaves. Now there's going to be some people that are going to argue with me. Okay, you want to argue? Fine, let's talk numbers. Just basic cost. If you want to use a vehicle for your microwave, if your alternator is not 90 amps or 95 amps, you're not even running this. Okay? Your power inverter, yes, the smaller you go, the cheaper it's going to be. So as far as cost, the power bright inverter 1100 watt is a good inverter. It will run the small microwave. It will run it straight from my van. But I also have a 90-95 amp alternator. Well, and I don't have to worry about burning anything up. I do have a larger DC to AC inverter. I have a 2500 to a 5000 watt that runs my large microwave without an issue. The only problem is trying to hook this up in my vehicle is my larger power inverter takes 4 cables plus the ground. That's 2 hot leads, 2 negative leads, neutral, negative, and then a ground. So, hooking that up to my car's vehicle battery is next to impossible. Could I do it? Yes. Would I want to risk it? No. But we're talking about cost here. The cost is cheaper buying this smaller setup. Cheaper on solar, cheaper on the vehicle, cheaper to run. But in the long run, you have to look at the amount of power you're using per that cost. So if it takes 15 minutes to cook something in here, it takes 35 minutes or even 30 minutes to cook something in here, the cost for the amount of energy you're using more using this. And like I said, there's going to be people arguing with me right and left. Well, 700 watt uses less power. That's right. But think about this. This is only 400 watts more for a much larger microwave. 400 watts. 1050 watts. 700 watt microwave. 1450 watts for a 1000 watt microwave. So if you got a DC-AC inverter that's a 1500 watt DC-AC inverter, you could run that large microwave without an issue. If you're going to put a microwave in a vehicle, know your stats, know how long you're going to need this. I mean, if all you have in that vehicle is a microwave for cooking, you need to get that cooking done as quickly as possible so you can recharge that battery as quickly as possible instead of just constantly zapping that battery for longer periods of time. You know, it makes more sense to me to have a larger microwave. Now, I don't mean have a 1500 watt microwave or an 1100 watt microwave even. I'm not sure about the power rating of 1100 watt microwaves because we don't have an 1100 watt. We have a 700 watt and we have a 1000 watt. I believe that's 1000. I mean, and this is heavy as can be. Yes, 1000 watts. And look at the size difference. I mean, this thing's massive. Another thing I absolutely hate with these smaller microwaves. I don't know if you can see this or not. I'm pretty sure you can't. But every time we cook in this microwave, let me get a flashlight. Maybe you can see this better. Maybe not. Anytime we cook in this microwave, water inside the microwave. I don't know if you can see this. Hopefully you can, and I don't think you can, but there is water in the microwave, literally everywhere in this microwave. Now, that never happened, period, when we used a 1,000-watt microwave. It never happened. Now, true, stuff would boil over in this, but it would never, ever have water on the inside like that. And mostly that's from making things like chimichangas. See, what else have we had recently? Baked potatoes. Rice, making rice in there. Water will build up in the smaller microwave, and it generally won't build up in the larger microwave. So that's a lot more cleaning, a lot more humidity you have to deal with, because it's holding that moisture in there. Like I said, the only reason we're not using this big one is because underneath the turntable there's little etches in the bottom of the microwave. The microwave works perfect. 100% it works fine. But it started etching out, so every time it goes around, it goes thud, 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 thud. Every time it hits, I think there's 3 places in here that it did that. Yeah. There's 3 places that did that. The paint is etched out and it just drops down. So when we ran across this microwave, we thought we got a really good deal, which we did. We paid $30 for it. And my van will run this microwave with the smaller power inverter I have. Would I risk running this large one off my vehicle? Not unless I amped up the alternator. That's something you have to think about. If you're going to run it from a vehicle or have a battery pack in a vehicle, your alternator strength has a lot to do with how fast that'll charge. I'm making this because I don't want people thinking that, we just went out and bought a smaller microwave for no reason whatsoever. And, the best microwave you can buy to put in a vehicle will be a 600 or 700 watt. That's not the case, because one, you are drawing more power because of the longer amount of time you have to use to cook your food. So if I make hot dogs in this big one, I can usually get them done in, I don't know, it's been so long, probably 8 minutes in the larger microwave, to where the water's boiling, the hot dogs are split. So even 12 minutes to where the water's boiling, hot dogs are split. It takes 20 minutes in this, easily. So in the long run, I'm actually using more power with this smaller microwave, because it takes longer to cook. So if you're wanting to get a vehicle, microwave in a vehicle, camper trailer, motorhome, first determine how much battery capacity you have. I have 2 dual cycle cheap Walmart batteries that are 122 amp hours each, and I have 2 of those. I have run our large microwave off of the inverter before without an issue for, I don't know, 3-4 days without an issue, without the batteries going dead. So you need to think about, you know, the length of time you're going to need this. So if it takes me, if I would put this in my vehicle, which I probably could, but it's just so big, and I have a regular size Ram van. I don't have a high top, I don't have an extended van, it's just a small regular Ram van, 2500. So if I would put this in my vehicle, and thinking I'm going to cook in the winter, say twice a day, okay? And each time it takes me 20 minutes to cook something. That's 40 minutes of power that I'm pulling from my batteries. And hopefully I either have my vehicle running or the solar's keeping up, you know, with a lot of it. Because I only have 400 watts of solar, it's going to use that power and actually start putting it back in. Now with this, it's going to take 3 times longer, if not a little bit longer than that, to cook the same thing. So you may be drawing 400 watts less power, but 400 watts times 3, that's an extra 1200 watts that you're actually using, because that takes 3 times longer at 400 watts less. But 400 times 3 is 1200 if you're going by that. You know, or you could say you're using 1200 watts more on this one. Whatever. But since this takes less time, you can't really figure that. What I'm figuring is this does use 400 watts less. Okay? But it takes 3 times longer. So 400 watts times 3 is 1200 watts. So if it's taking 3 times longer, you would use an extra 1200 watts. Now, I'm not sure if the math is correct. People are going to yell and argue and scream about this. All I can tell you is what I've done with experience. The small microwave takes a lot longer to cook with. So, if you can, I'm not telling you to, get a larger DC-AC inverter, an extra battery, and an extra solar panel to help charge that up if you're going to use solar, and think about the time you're going to cook in this. If you're only going to cook once a week in this, yeah, something like that's perfectly fine. But if you're going to cook daily, I mean literally daily, you want something that cooks as fast as possible so your batteries can start recouping that charge. So basically, this is 3 times faster. This takes 3 times longer to cook with. And you're going, it doesn't add up. That's a 700 watt, that's a 1000 watt. I'm going by experience. How long it takes us to cook our food in both these microwaves. This does take 3 times longer. So, and even if it didn't take 3 times longer, even if it took twice as long, okay? So twice as long, would that make that 1400 watts over 1000 watts? You'd still be using more power on this. So I apologize that this video is getting this super long, but I wanted to clarify something. If you're going to put a microwave in your vehicle, think about how many meals you're going to cook on in your microwave, how long it's going to be running, how much power consumption it takes. The way I think about it, this takes 1450 watts. Think about that, 1450 This takes 1,050. So if this, even if this took 2 times as long, 2 times longer, that's 2,000 and what, 2,100 watts to run this, to cook with this, 2,100 watts compared to the 1,450 watts for the same amount of time, because this does take twice as long, easily twice as long. So this will use more power in the long run. This is much bigger, much heavier. Trust me, it's heavy. And once I fix this, this will definitely be in the house. That, it was small. We found it on sale. We needed something to use until I repaired our large one. Like I said, it has etches on the bottom. I have to sand all that down and then recoat it with paint. Once we get this done, we're going back to the larger microwave because it takes way less time to cook, and in the long run it actually uses less power, because this does run twice as long, at least twice as long, and you're going, it doesn't add up 700 watts compared to 1,000 watts. You know, I can't tell you why the 700 watt microwave takes twice as long to cook something as the 1,000 watt microwave we have, but it does. 2 to even 3 times longer, depends on what you're trying to cook. Now this is our big glass bowl that I cook our sausage in, that I cook our hot dogs in. I mean, look at that. The thing's huge. And it barely fits in the 700 watt microwave. But this is full of water. And then our sausage is inside. So with this size bowl, this takes 3 times longer to cook than this does. Not twice, but 3 times. Because first it has to fill all the water, you know, heat all the water volume up, and then it has to start to boil that water. And that is a lot of stuff that, you know, you have to heat up. So when getting a microwave for a vehicle, or even your own residence, if you're off-grid, or you're going off-grid, you need to think about your power consumption, how you're going to recharge your batteries, how long you need your batteries for. Because you want to be able to use those batteries and get them charging as fast as possible, instead of just constantly drawing power out for an hour, hour and a half at a time, or however long it takes. Now if you're just going to make nothing but spaghetti, Chef Boyardee stuff, in this microwave here, a can of Chef Boyardee ravioli, spaghetti, things like that, takes me around 3 minutes, and then I'll stir it, put it back in for another half minute. And it's perfect, it's hot all the way through, literally steaming all the way through. This one, I have to put it in for 6 minutes, take it out, stir it, and then put it back in for at least another minute. So that's double the amount of time for a can of Chef Boyardee ravioli or spaghetti beefaroni. So that's double the amount of time. So this does use more power in the long run. I'm sorry about the length of the video. I just want to make it clear, if you want to put a microwave in a vehicle, camper trailer, RV, get something for off-grid, you need to consider power usage. That's true. How many amps, watts it pulls. But you also have to consider the length of time that appliance is going to be running, and figure that in. If you can get a 1,000 watt microwave that runs half the time and only uses 400 watts more than the 700 watt microwave, the 700 watt microwave is actually using more power. So anyway, I'm fixing to shut this down. I apologize, this is a very super long video. I would get Midnight in here, but he's outside. But once again, try to find the power usage for your microwave. Now this is a Hamilton Beach, this one over here, the 1000 watt microwave, okay? I don't know if you can see, it says 1000 watts right there. And this, I don't even remember. You will have to look at my other videos on the microwave in the van. I can't even remember. Mainstay. I believe that's a Mainstay microwave. 700 watt. So the larger microwave cooks faster, cooks more even, and eventually, you know, it depends on how much you're having to use it, will absolutely use less power than the smaller 700 watt microwave. Anyway, that's it. I am out of here, and everyone have a good day.